Joseph dreamed a dream. And he told it to his brother. Right? And his brethren, they began to develop this hatred, or this animosity. Why? Because Joseph, he said that he was considered as a favorite. And it said that Israel had Joseph in his old age. But we understand that even though Jacob had Joseph in his old age, he wasn't the youngest. Benjamin was the youngest. Right? But it says, but still, it says that Joseph walked in favor because of his position. And because of his position, God had to complete what he started. And because of the favor of God that was upon him, he had to be in his rightful place and stay in his rightful position with God. And what we realize is that God sometimes will make our enemies our footstool. Sometimes we don't understand why we go through many trials. We don't understand why we go through these tests. But the problem is that we have haters that's placed in our life to push us or catapult us into our next position. And see, here Joseph did not understand why he had to go through the things that he went through, but he did have faith in God. He refused to get discouraged, and he refused to get up in spite of how many things and how many trials that he was engaged in. And so we got to understand, it says in Genesis 37, these are the generations of Jacob and Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brother, and that lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah and his father's wives and Joseph. And they brought it to his father that evil report. And so now we understand Joseph's brothers, they came to the father and they said they were already wrongdoing. And the Bible said, when I was a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Now it said the average age of Joseph and his brothers was between 18 and 29. Don't you know, between the years of 18 and 29, we're so involved in so mischief and trying to figure out what's going on in our lives, and we still haven't quite figured that out yet. And don't you know, at the young age, and we have that sibling rivalry, we have things going on, and we have jealousy, and don't you know, jealousy is not something that we just start doing. It's something that's acquired. And because, and we can look at our children for an example. Here we look at how a lot of times sibling rivalry. You have little kids, and this one will get jealous of that one, and this one will get jealous of that one. And if you look at Zari and Madison, how because of the closeness of age, how Madison gets jealous of Zari, and Zari gets jealous of Madison, and they start fighting. And that fighting, what it does is it creates envy. It creates strife. It creates bitterness. It creates hatred. And in that development, as they continue to grow, unless the parents use wisdom, they learn how to, they will create a great hatred for one another. And then that great hatred and that envy will cause to murder. Now here we have Joseph here. He started off, he was an innocent young man. But because he had favor upon his life, because God had a plan for his life, God has set him up for a test, but the test not only his faithfulness, but to set him up for the future of Egypt's existence. Right? And it says that, here in the word, it says that because of the favor that was on Joseph, his brothers hated him dearly. How many of us have family members that think you got it going on, but every time you look up, they in your face, they want something, they need something, but you don't never see them unless they got a need. We call them haters. But in the end, they sit there and they say, well, you think you better than me. Oh, it's not that you're better than them, but God has a purpose and a plan for your life. And the problem is that when we allow those haters to discourage us, to take us off course, then what ended up happening is that we walk away our dream, or we do not fulfill our destiny. Amen. Joseph, he had 3 trials that he had to overcome. 3. And none of us, as we grow up and we mature, we end up finding out. He said, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord shall bring us through them all. How many times that every time we think we're taking 1 step forward, we get knocked back 2 steps? That's the enemy. And then what we find out is a lot of times it's not as much as your friends, but it's your family. Amen. And the problem is, you know what? As we grow up, he said that is the spirit, that of the flesh is flesh. If those that are walking in the fleshly realm cannot understand those things of the spiritual realm, because they cannot see what God is doing in your life and where God is taking you to and that next level of your life. God, they cannot see and understand the blessings that have been placed upon your life and your vision, because you know what? They hating where you are because you have separated yourself for the next level in your life. See, you got to understand, Joseph, who knew who he was, he didn't quite understand where he was as of yet. But his faith said, in spite of what things might look like, I know God has a purpose for my life.